Most people know me as Uncle Jumbo from my children's music. And that comes from my nieces years ago who named me that. And I love that name so much even before making children's music. But fast forwarding into children's music, it just highlighted even more to me how much I love it because it shows this adult who is like a parental figure, but somebody that can be your friend, somebody that you can have fun with, uh, and that friend is there, and that's really important to be a friend.
This is a story from a new point of view.
Rolling, 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 rolling around. Rolling, 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 rolling. Gonna roll out of time. I was just taking it easy, eating a leaf.
The inspiration for my music comes from all around. It comes from the most personal place is that it comes from my daughter, and she is what led me to really focusing on children's music completely as a new creative home. I've been recording music, making music since I was a teenager. And when my wife and I, when we got pregnant with her, uh, there was a massive, just creative wave that I felt more than I've ever felt. And I was constantly making something, making music, of course, but making beats, making melodies, making pieces of songs, writing things. I didn't have a plan for it. I didn't have like a destination in mind. I just really felt this creative energy flowing through me. And it goes back to when she was on her way here. Um, I actually started on a song that ended up on my album Garden Groove before I even knew that I would be focusing on children's music. And that was from going to the first appointment where we were able to hear our daughter Ani's heartbeat. And I looked at the monitor and it was spelled out in my language, beats per minute. So I looked at it, memorized the number, and went home and made a drum pattern at that tempo, and then just put it away. I didn't really get back to it, but there were a bunch of signs, a bunch of events, and things that just kept pointing me towards making children's music. It's really hard to talk about and to just put myself back in that time and think about. Um, but when Ani was 3 weeks old, she had to have a major surgery. She was born with a rare liver condition that we found out after we left the hospital after she was born, um, and thank God we found out so soon. But in the process of that, and having to be, in the hospital and in the infant intensive care unit, um, it's just massive room full of babies in beds lined up, and and you have your families go in there. And what ended up happening was, while we're in there with Ani, all of these babies in this infant intensive care, they all became my babies too. I'm thinking about these babies, I'm praying for these babies. I'm giving love to their family members who are there to visit. A lot of these babies were there for very long times. And a moment that really struck with me was sitting with Ani and looking across at the baby in the bed across from her. And they had this speaker attached to this baby's bed, just playing music constantly. And that image and that feeling, uh, it just resonated with me. It just showed what the presence of music can have in keeping things lively for somebody like the baby and the people around the baby. And that moment will never leave me. Um, but I've always been somebody who has been very grateful, very thankful. I'm in a good spirits. I'm a silly person. I'm goofy. I'd love to get the joy out of people, but I mean, if that was me before. When we got out of that situation, we were able to come home with Ani after that surgery. You have never seen anybody more grateful than me. You have never felt like that's when life becomes what it was. I not only have this new blessing of a child, I have this new inspiration. But we immediately went through a very intense time, and to get home from that. Now that's why when I'm sitting in the garden, everything is everything, and everything is beautiful.
Look out the window. Do you see that great big tree? That's from your family, passed down generations. Oh, what a feeling. They took care of it. Now you can have some shade from the sun.
I went to go teach a workshop for some kids in Houston at a place called Theater Under the Stars. They do a workshop with kids who have disabilities, and they do it every time they have a big production there. This is a musical theater in Houston. So Hamilton came and played there, and they wanted somebody to come and teach music, specifically hip hop and movement, to these kids. This happened to be the day that this workshop happened. It happened to be on the day of our baby shower. And I was really excited to do it leading up to the day. I was, this is this is right up my alley, music, movement. I've always loved kids. I've coached camps with kids. I've taught kids. I'm always just somebody who relates to kids very well, and has always just been a presence for kids. But when the day for this came, and we went through this whole baby shower, lots of family. By the end of the day, in the late afternoon, when I'm supposed to teach this workshop, I was tired. I was out of it. And I told my wife, I said, look, I'm going to go up to this workshop, and I'm just going to, meet these kids, and I'm just going to make them run for an hour. We're just going to have a very physical time, tire them out, and I'm going to come home because I'm tired. But the minute that I got there and started interacting with these kids, something just really intense came out, very special. This connection came out, and the joy was there. The feeling of identifying with each other and making the most of the moment happened through the music. So that was something that made me just pause and think about making it a regular part of my creative life, to be making works for these kids to be having the best moments they can. When Ani was born, I had a wave of just inspiration that was deeper than I'd ever felt. So as a new dad, I'm super inspired just by her. And who I am as a person, it has a lot to do with making music. That's what I love to do. That's how I express myself. I'd be doing that anyway through any circumstances. But now there is this super inspirational, beautiful little being that I have. And just the calling to make music kept coming and kept coming. I would be working on a lot of instrumental pieces, a lot of beats, a lot of different things overnight in between the times that I was feeding Ani. She'd wake up every hour and a half, and there'd be a bunch of times where I'd feed her, soothe her, get her back to bed, and then I'm back to work on whatever it is. And as Ani started to grow up, and the little things that I see her doing, these are the things that make me want to make music about it again. Like, I'm the type of person that'll make a song out of like taking the trash out. Like, I'm goofy like that. I'm silly. I just love to make stuff. But when I first saw Ani learning and practicing how to crawl, that just set off just a big impression in me. And that's where songs like Roly Poly started to come from. I'd be on the floor playing with her and trying to help her crawl, and would freestyle the hook of it, roly poly. And it was hilarious that, and I'm a new dad, so I don't know, the direction of like a lot of this goes. Like, this is super common, I find out now, but it was the funniest thing that she could only crawl backwards at first. And so I would always say to her, like, where are you going, caterpillar? What's the plan here? What are you doing?
Hey, hey, hey. Where you going, caterpillar? Where you going, caterpillar? You gotta build a cocoon. You gotta build a cocoon. Gonna be a butterfly soon. Way back in the day, people would see you and they say, who is that little chunky leaf eater? But now you can fly and got places to be. And isn't it just so funny how you can taste with your feet? Where you going?
When you are a new parent, or I'll speak for myself, as a new parent, anything that would work, we have to do it again and keep going. You're just trying stuff and trying stuff. And so we found out that Ani would be really soothed and relaxed and would go to sleep when we would feed her in our garden, in our backyard. And she just loved the sound of the birds, just the environment, the colors, everything there is such a peaceful environment. And once that worked to get her to go to sleep, we were doing it all the time. You become like baseball superstitious. It's like, I'm going to do it again. That's the way it works. So I found myself out there in our garden often, and I'm holding this little girl, the most inspiring little thing I've ever been around. And the whole world starts to become more inspiring to me. I'm out there appreciating every little thing, just from this little seed of this person. And so, I'm looking at plants, loving them. I'm talking to the squirrels and the lizards, like, I don't want to hurt you. I hope you have a good day. I know I just made this sudden move, but how's your family? I hope you're good. But it just becomes this wonderful just environment of appreciation. I've always loved it. My wife is a great gardener, person who loves the outdoors, and brought that love to me. But when Ani came, it just heightened so much. And so I began to make more songs out there, and it just came to me. I don't know another way to explain it, but all of these things just pointed me towards making this music. And we can start out with making things that are garden themed, nature themed, because I wanted to be able to pass on this feeling of appreciation to children now, and use the garden as a way to tell the story of all of the little creatures, all of the insects, all of the plants, all of everything there living together, and how all of that works, and just all of the different things about a garden, the way that plants may die, but they come back, the reincarnation of nature, the way that just things exist together, was such a big inspiration, thanks to just being out there with my daughter. Once I said that, okay, I'll make a garden album, and I'd been already freestyling these songs around the house, like on the floor, rolling around with Ani, learning how to crawl, more and more concepts came. And then when I really, really sat back and thought about what I want to do with children's music, that's where the most clarity came to me. This is a place I found where I can be that person that kids are able to go to and have music that teaches them to love themselves, that gives them that self-love, that language of self-love. Also, just a language of unity, which is a big deal personally. For me, I've always been somebody who wants people to, more than get along, to like each other, to love each other. And I know that so much of that starts as young children. And in children's music, I found a way to take all of the excitement I've ever found in creating and performing music, discovering new sounds and rhythms, all of that, and giving it to these kids for something for them to grow with and become a part of shaping who they are and the appreciation that they look at the world with and that they look at each other with.